All right, let me tell you something. The Raiders made a pick in the sixth round that you're going to love. At pick 180, they grabbed JJ Peggs, a defensive tackle from Ole Miss. Now you know me. I'm all about a good plan, and I've got a feeling this is a move the Raiders have carefully thought through. What's even more exciting is that I believe Pegues isn't just coming in to beef up the defense. He's someone the Raiders could use on offense, too. Yes, you heard that right. An offensive plan for a defensive tackle. I'll explain what I mean by that, but first, think about it this way. If you've been watching what the Philadelphia Eagles have been doing lately, the Raiders might be trying to replicate that strategy. This is the type of move that could help take down powerhouse teams like the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, let's dive into Pagis' abilities on the defensive side. He's 23 years old, stands at 6 feet 2 inches, and weighs 309 pounds. A solid presence on the field. For a while now, we've been saying the Raiders need to bulk up their line, add some real size, and it looks like they're doing just that. Earlier, they drafted Tonka Hemingway in round 4, and now with Pegues, they're clearly building a stronger defensive front. Last season at Ole Miss, Pagis put up 42 tackles, 14 tackles for loss, and 3.5 sacks. He's a player who brings a lot of versatility. One of the cool things about him is that Ole Miss would line him up at various spots, sometimes at defensive tackle, sometimes at edge rusher. That's something I think could really benefit the Raiders, as versatility is key to staying unpredictable on the field. A fun fact, Pegues didn't miss a single tackle in 2023. That's impressive for a guy who's known for his solid, no-nonsense play. His burst off the line is something to watch, although he does face some struggles with double teams and counters. Still, with players like Max Crosby, Christian Wilkins, and Malcolm Coons already on the roster, the Raiders have some serious talent on defense, and Pegues could be that extra spark they need. It's all about building a unit that works together. The Raiders are clearly trying to surround their top players with more talent, and I'm loving the strategy. What they've done in this draft on both offense and defense is all about maximizing their star players. How can they make Max Crosby even better? How can they make Adam Butler and Christian Wilkins even more of a force? It's all about creating that team synergy. And here's where the versatility comes in. Both of the defensive linemen the Raiders picked up today, Pegues and Hemingway, bring that adaptability. Whether it's a defensive tackle or edge rusher, these guys can do it all. Patrick Graham, the Raiders' defensive coordinator, loves this type of versatility, and it's clear the Raiders are building a team for the long term. High character guys, ready to bring their all every season. It's all part of the plan. Let me tell you something right now. If you don't know who JJ Pagis is yet, you will by the end of this show. I promise you that. And I've got a theory on what the Raiders are planning to do with him. I believe they're going to use him on offense. Yeah, I said it. We'll break all that down in just a moment, but first, if you think this pick is a bad move, well, I've got to tell you, I think you're wrong. All right, back to JJ Pagis. Here's why I think he's going to make an impact on offense. Let's rewind a bit and take a look at what he did at Ole Miss. In 2024, Pagis was used as a short yardage back. That means he was trusted to carry the ball when the team needed a few yards. And guess what? He scored 7 touchdowns on just 21 carries. That's impressive. Out of those 21 carries, he got 18 first downs or touchdowns. Talk about efficiency. But that's not all. Pagis also played fullback. And when you look at the Raiders' current running back room, there's not a single player who could step into that fullback role. Could this be where the Raiders want to use Pagis? I think it's a real possibility. So Jugs jokingly said it. Maybe JJ Pagis is a replacement for Zamir White. And yeah, I should mention Isaiah Spiller got cut. And we haven't updated the depth chart since the draft. But hey, let's talk about this. Even if it's a lighthearted thought, I do believe there's something deeper at play here. Teams that come off a Super Bowl win tend to follow a pattern. And if you're a Raiders fan, you've got to see what the Philadelphia Eagles did to Kansas City in that Super Bowl. The Raiders, they might just be borrowing a page from that playbook. Now I know, 2 defensive tackles on day 3 might not seem like the biggest move. But remember when the Eagles went and grabbed Jalen Carter after they already picked Jordan Davis the year before? That was a team that didn't need defensive tackle help. They already had Milton Williams, but they didn't just stop there. They said, let's make our trenches even stronger. And that's exactly what they did. Fast forward to the Raiders. Coming into this draft, they already had a solid defensive line, but they decided to add even more depth. They're building up the line to help their stars, the guys they're paying, perform at their best. And here's the thing, that's when the magic happens. When you make your supporting cast strong, the stars can really shine. But there's something else to consider. The Philadelphia Eagles have become experts at a move called the tush push. And maybe, just maybe, the Raiders are thinking about a similar strategy. It's all about mastering those little details, and I believe the Raiders are starting to do just that. Now, here's a thought. Could we see a time where the tush push gets banned? I mean, think about it. What if the new wave of the tush push involves grabbing a super athletic defensive tackle? Someone who's not just a powerhouse, but can actually handle the ball and run it for first downs? Imagine a 6'2", 310-pound guy running a 540. That's some serious athleticism. And that's exactly what JJ Pagis brings to the table. Now, what if the Raiders are looking at this as a way to replace Josh Jacobs with someone just as dynamic? Look at JJ in his time at Ole Miss, 21 carries, 18 first downs or touchdowns. That's the type of athlete we're talking about. And let's not forget, the last time I stood here and said, that's a football player, was when we drafted Brock Bowers. I'm not saying Pagis is going to be Brock Bowers, but I get the vision behind this pick. He's a true football player, and that's what the Raiders need. But there's more to this draft, right? Will Howard just went off the board to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I'm wondering if the Raiders might make a move. With picks 213, 215, and 222 still in hand, could the Raiders trade up to snag a quarterback? If they want one, the only other guy I think they're eyeing is Quinn Ewers. But if the Raiders don't land a quarterback this time, keep an eye on Cam Miller from North Dakota State. They had a top 30 visit with him, and I think he could be a sleeper. As for Howard, if I were him, I'd love the opportunity with the Steelers. I know a lot of Steelers fans are also Ohio State fans, so that pick is probably a favorite for them. But if I'm the Raiders, I'd rather roll with Aiden O'Connell than give up assets for a guy like Quinn Ewers. Personally, I'd rather see the Raiders focus on defense. Maybe even draft a linebacker. So as we gear up for the next pick, make sure you're subscribed and got those notifications turned on. Anytime the Raiders make a pick, we break it down for you, offering the insights you need to understand what it all means.